You finally broke free. No more pretending. No more playing their part. You burned the script they wrote for you, and for a moment, it felt like victory. But freedom has teeth. And now, you're standing in the wreckage. No map, no title, no applause, just silence and self. This isn't the end of the story. It's the terrifying beginning, where nothing is written and you are the author, or the ash. Because freedom isn't peace. It's raw, violent, unformed, and mastering it isn't about control. It's about who you choose to become, when no one's watching and nothing is stopping you, except you. We romanticize freedom, but the truth? Freedom is terrifying. Not because of what it gives you, but because it removes every excuse you've ever had. When you finally walk away from the life that was killing you, the job, the relationship, the identity, you're not immediately rewarded with clarity. You're met with silence. The kind of silence that reveals just how much of you was built to please others. And when all the roles fall away, you're not left with enlightenment. You're left with ground zero. This is what philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre called existential freedom, when nothing is defined and everything is possible. And that possibility? It's not always liberating. It's paralyzing. What if the comfort you're craving right now is just a recycled version of the cage you left behind? No one is coming to save you. It's just you and the raw, undecorated truth. That meaning must be chosen, and identity must be built. Most people run from this point. They call it a breakdown, a crisis. They reach for anything, a new partner, a new job, a new belief system, just to fill the space. But that space, that void, it's sacred. It's where rebirth begins. The cage may have been unbearable, but at least it gave you a name. Now, you're nameless, faceless, free. But freedom isn't the absence of rules. It's the power to write your own. And the question is, will you retreat into the comfort of a smaller life? Or will you build a truer one from the rubble? Who are you when no one is telling you who to be? Write it down. Sit in it. Let it haunt you. And the most important piece? That's still ahead. Everyone tells you to find yourself, but no one tells you what to do when the self you're looking for doesn't exist yet. There is no authentic self waiting quietly in the shadows. There's only the self you choose to construct, piece by piece, truth by truth, choice by choice. That's the secret they don't talk about. There's nothing to find, because the real you isn't hiding. It hasn't been built. Carl Jung called this journey individuation, not discovery, but integration. Not finding a hidden self in the light, but forging one in the dark. It means facing the parts of you you've buried, the rage you swallowed to stay liked, the dreams you abandoned to stay useful, the truth you silenced to keep the peace. You don't find the real you by meditating in silence. You find them when you face the version of you you hate to admit exists. Individuation is not gentle. It's violent in its honesty. It rips off the costume. It burns the script. It forces you to ask, what part of me was survival, and what part of me was real? You don't build yourself by stacking affirmations. You build by facing contradiction, by holding your fear and your desire in the same breath, by standing in the storm of who you were, and choosing deliberately who you'll be next. This is the blueprint of rebirth. Not to be a product of your past, but to be the author of your future. And for the first time, You get to choose the shape of your becoming. And here's the paradox. You can't become whole until you face the parts of you that made you feel broken. And that's where we go next. This is where most people get it wrong. They think transformation is about addition, adding confidence, adding habits, adding more to become better. But the truth is, real transformation is subtraction. It's not about who you become. It's about what you're willing to leave behind. Friedrich Nietzsche said, "One must still have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star." He wasn't talking about destruction for its own sake. He was talking about the fire of rebirth, the kind that burns through illusion, through performance, through the carefully constructed mask you wore to survive. To rebuild yourself, you don't need better routines. You need brutal clarity. You need to ask yourself, what in me exists only because it made me safe? That people-pleasing, that emotional numbness, that constant doing to prove you're enough? They aren't personality traits. They're defense mechanisms, and every single one of them was useful once. But now they're a prison. If you stripped all of that away, what's left? To become whole, you must unlearn your coping mechanisms. You must strip away the lies you told yourself to be loved, the stories you clung to so you didn't fall apart. And you must let the old version of you die, so something more honest can take its place. This isn't self-help. This is self-destruction, but done consciously, as an act of devotion to your truth. That's what we unpack next. Only once the scaffolding falls can you see what was real underneath. You are not here to become a better version of who they trained you to be. You are here to become unrecognizable, even to yourself. You've been taught to fear chaos, to organize it, avoid it, suppress it. But what if chaos isn't the enemy? What if it's the raw material of becoming? The world says, control it. Philosophy says, become it. Søren Kierkegaard once wrote, "Anxiety is the dizziness of freedom. It's what you feel when the safety net is gone, when the false certainties collapse, and you're left staring into the void of your own potential." But what if anxiety isn't a warning sign, but a green light? What if the pressure you feel isn't danger, but depth calling you forward? When you stop resisting the unknown, it starts shaping you. But this is where most people numb out. They reach for distraction. They cling to rules. They try to tame the unknown. But what they don't realize is the unknown is where your power lives. Chaos isn't disorder. It's unshaped possibility. It's everything you could be, before the world told you who to become. You don't master chaos by controlling it. You master it by letting it stretch you, by letting it teach you how to breathe without a script, by dancing with it until fear becomes freedom. The ego hates this because ego wants structure, predictability, edges. But the self, the real self, is born in fluidity, in paradox, in the sacred space between breakdown and breakthrough. To master the chaos is not to eliminate uncertainty. It's to stop needing certainty at all. To stand in the storm and say, "This is mine. I can shape this." What would happen if you let go of needing to know what happens next? That's not recklessness. That's mastery. And that's where your power begins. So here we are, back in the silence. But this time, you're not lost. You were never broken. You were buried, under conditioning, under fear, under the lies you told yourself to survive. But now the mask is off. The story is burned. The past is rubble at your feet. And in its place, a terrifying, beautiful freedom. You are no longer who the world told you to be. You are who you choose to become. Not someday. Now. So what do? You rebuild. Not as a reaction, not as a performance, but as a conscious act of self-authorship. Not from ego, but from clarity. Because chaos is not the opposite of order. It's the birthplace of all creation. Your identity is not inherited. It is constructed. Every thought, every action, every refusal to go back is a brick in the foundation of your becoming. And here's the ultimate truth. You don't have to know exactly who you are yet. You just have to stop being who you're not. This is your blueprint for rebirth. Unlearn what isn't yours. Face what you've been avoiding. That chaos that once terrified you, it's now your canvas. You escaped the cage. You walked through the fire. And now, you build. If you're done waiting to be rescued, if you're ready to claim your life as your own, type it in the comments. I am the architect of my own life. Not as a performance, but as a commitment. Let this be your line in the sand. If you've rebuilt from the ruin, then you already know that the next test isn't chaos, it's conquest. What happens after you've come back from the fire? Click into the next chapter. You've survived the collapse. Now, it's time to lead.